really the easy thing for me to do would be just to say to Eric Gonzalez, you know, we invite him back up here. How do you follow that? I mean, it's amazing. The man is awesome, and I really appreciate you doing this. It's an honor for me to represent 120 employees in the Sheriff's Office, and the men and women that work there, in my mind, are the finest people I could hope for. And so it's an honor to be able to lead them. But really, what you see in the uniform that I'm wearing, and the deputies that are out there in the car with the flashing blue lights behind you sometimes, that's really just the tip of the spear. There is a whole raft of people that either work in some other part of law enforcement, whether they're a dispatcher, or whether they're a records clerk, or whether they're working in the jail as a corrections deputy, or whether they're a probation officer. There is a whole system out there that most of you probably never see, but I guarantee you every uniformed officer in here would stand up and clap for them as hard as you folks are all showing your appreciation for us, because those folks are as big a part of what makes this system work. And I really do believe that it seems like across this country, it's just kind of a simmering pot that's ready to boil over. And unfortunately, Friday night in Dallas, it did boil over. But in Skagit County, I don't feel that so much. I know it, I see the news just like you folks all do, but it just doesn't feel the same. And tonight is just reaffirming that even more for me, and I think for the officers and the deputies in the room. I think back a couple of years ago when we were trying to build our new jail, and we worked really hard to try to get that together, and it went to a ballot to see if the money could, come in the form of taxes, to see if there would be support for a new jail, which is a critical part of law enforcement. We need a place to hold people accountable. And we were very worried about it, and we worked hard to try to sell it to all of you folks that vote. And when the votes came in, and it was 73% of Skagit County said, we support building a new jail. That is a tough thing for people to do in tough economic times, to say, I'm going to essentially tax myself. But the way I looked at that is almost a referendum on what you folks all feel about law enforcement and the job we're doing here in Skagit County. You said, we trust you. We think you're on the right path. We think this is the way to go, and we're going to put our dollars behind it and support that new jail. And I felt that then, and I feel it even more tonight with you folks all, and with the love in the room and the appreciation you folks are all showing. It's just simply overwhelming to me. I guess I had a couple of war stories I was going to tell, but I don't know that you want to hear them. But you all watch the TV shows on cops. Some of it is very contrived, and some of those law enforcement shows. But there's a lot of truth to it. It is a dangerous occupation, and I know my wife tells me when I go to work, she always says, be careful, and I go, Diane, I'm driving to the office, I'm going to spend 99% of my time in the office taking care of business. It's important work, but it's those folks, those uniformed patrol deputies and patrol officers that I have the utmost respect for. I know I did my time doing that, and I'm not sure I would want to do it today. Times have changed a little bit. It is a dangerous world out there.
Yes.
And those folks that are out there, what you're doing tonight is absolutely amazing. What you're doing for them by showing your appreciation, it just gives you that little extra surge to go out there and say, we can do this. And lastly, I just want to leave with the thought is that as bad as it seems across the country, and like I said, that pot is kind of simmering, we just need to be communicating. There are folks out there that feel a little disenfranchised, that feel like they're not being heard, that feel like maybe they're being selected because of their race or their gender or some other difference, they feel disenfranchised. And it should be every one of our goals to make sure they don't feel that way, that we feel like a community. If we can just talk about it, and I think we do a very good job of that here in Skagit County, but if we just talk about it, we work it together, we can solve those differences, and we will realize Eric's dream of being 15, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years from now, Skagit County will be safe. And I know every officer in this room is committed to the goals that Eric talked about, and I thank you very much for being here tonight.